Get the question.
Welcome, Sexy Wookiees, to another edition of Sexy Wookie Squadcast. We're continuing reading Star Wars The Paradise Snare by A.C. Crispin. This week's chapters are 6 to 10. That art belongs in a museum, said no Corellian ever. It's your boy, Sexy Leader.
Hey, it's your girl, Sexy One.
Hey, it's your simp sexy too.
Oh my gosh, that was
Let
perfect.
us go.
The
Oh my
archaeologist.
I just find that so funny, especially after like we read Thrawn.
I know. What the heck?
Oh, right.
It's all circling around the art lately.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what's
is
her
the
name?
key.
Oh, I'm not gonna name her yet. I'm just still saying 921.
No, you gotta
921
name
could be-
her.
She
Could be a
has
question.
a name.
It could be a question though. It
It's
could be a
not.
question. Oh, okay. So
We gotta call her Brea
921,
now.
She can work with Thrawn in the future. Hence, I'm wearing the Thrawn shirt I still wore from that episode.
I don't know if my shirt is fitting. I don't really have a Star Wars shirt to match, so mine says "Welcome, foolish mortals."
Ah, it works for me.
Does it work for these chapters?
Yeah,
It's all right, right.
about these
Well,
foolish
let's
mortals.
make it rounded out. Red, go ahead. What are you wearing, Red?
The lifeguard. It's a Baywatch shirt. Because they go to the beach a lot. What are you gonna do?
All righty.
So
Let's
what are
hit these questions.
the questions?
So the sanctuary is definitely a cult. What was it like when that realization hit you?
Oh,
How long
man.
did it even take?
Okay, I'm trying to remember the first time I read this book, if I was just like, oh shoot. Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, it's just like a drug running operation. I was like infuriated. It's like on Bria's behalf too, because she's invested in it. Like it's hard to have your beliefs challenged and to be told that everything that you've been taught and have based your life around is a lie. So like, good on her for being willing to question it, as hard as it was. But to have the need to know more than the need to cling on to what she wanted to believe.
Mm-hmm.
So that, like, it hurts, man. It's like, dang, you're losing that. And then I don't know, I could go off on Bria. She's such a neat character, and I don't know if that's a question at some
We'll
point.
talk a little bit more about her later.
But yeah, to have the beginning of her journey be that she's completely duped and being used and addicted to this cult. It's tragic and it's infuriating. And I'm like, go Han, like, take him down. Get him.
Well, that's what it is, right? It's a cult. So once you're in, you're in.
They aren't going to let you go easy.
For me, it was more when she took the glitter stem. When he said, I forgot what he said, where he was trying to prove what he was saying was true, and that he's not saying, I'm not lying to you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like, I try to look at it from a Han Solo perspective, like what he would go through about it. But I mean, I would just say for Bria, it's probably heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking because you invested all your devotion to this culture, to this to this religion, to this cult. I don't know what they call it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's for her to invest all that time and really, like, every time they kept saying the one and the all, I was always the one and the all. Like, it's like whenever you
Ronald's
see it, you wanna
joining.
cheer it.
Oh,
Just
Jesus.
putting on his
The
pilgrim
one
clothes.
and the
Let's
all.
go.
I'd probably be like Bria though. Probably be suckered into this thing, just like her, and not know what was going on. And the thing is, they said it hit the females more. That it was something for the females, right? So whatever they, these priests output into the kind of like
Oh yeah,
cloud
their
their vision.
vibrations. It was a mating thing for the females of their species.
Right,
So
right. But then it's like you don't know what species take it in what way. So it's
exactly.
like it could be humans, it could be Celestians, like who knows? And then the what's it, the tiger,
Yeah.
the Tagorian.
Tagorians.
So yeah, I mean, I was pretty much like, man, she was so devoted to it. It's like for all it to be a lie.
Sucks, yeah. Your whole world comes crashing down.
Mhm.
Sorry, there's a sexy Wookiee
It's
fan
the mini
here.
Yeah.
sexy Wookiee.
There's a fan here.
Appearance.
She likes climbing on the tables.
Acceptable.
So as soon as I realized it was a cult, I thought about this hilarious line from one of my favorite podcasts. So they talk about like true crime and stuff, and so in one of them they were talking about a cult, and so I don't remember the exact context, but one of them was like, "You're in a cult, call your dad." I was like, "Bria, call your dad."
Yeah, Bria, call your dad. Serious.
So I had to stop reading because I was just cracking up. I was like, "Why isn't she calling her dad?"
Oh my gosh.
But then like just reading more about the cult and all that, it kind of just reminded me of like random cults that have actually happened in real life, and
Yeah.
like the weird stuff that they do, and like
The manipulation.
the manipulation, the rituals,
Mhm.
the like emotional abuse to try to like keep you in.
Yeah.
Just
That's why this
Yeah.
series is so weird. Like there's so much about it that they try that I don't know why it's so intentional, but it's so like real world relatable. And I'm like,
Mhm.
don't do that. Like
yeah, it kind of felt like I was so Ronald and Megan know I am a murderino. I love learning about true crime things, not because I'm like yay crime, but because I'm like I just want to understand like the
fascinating,
why.
yeah.
It's fascinating. I just want to understand the why. So a lot of what I studied was also cults, especially like tying it in with like psychology and sociology. And so
Yeah.
that's why like reading this, I was like, is this still Star Wars, or did I get this off
Is
of
this
like
freaking
my
Jonestown? What's going on?
I was like, did I get this off of my like freaking true crime show?
Yeah. It's I don't know why. Like sometimes I love when something is relatable to our real world, but then set in Star Wars, and I'm just like, oh, how neat! Like they have that too. But for some reason with this series, it's so almost uncomfortable how realistic some of the elements that they put in here, and I don't know
Yeah.
why, but it always kind of felt weird to me. So this series does that a little bit, like with Han Solo's backstory, and now with this whole cult angle, and then the whole drug angle. I'm just like, it's like too close to real. I don't like it.
Like, I mean, I still like the book, but yeah, there's some parts when I read, I'm just like, this makes me uncomfortable.
Right.
And I read true crime for fun. I'm like, this
Yeah.
is Star Wars. Why is it?
I don't know. Yeah, there's just something weird, something off about it. Like when Han's trying to like sell drugs on Alderaan.
It's like, the hell is going on?
You were a spice runner?
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it was like kind of weird.
So I think
But,
it was
yeah.
called the exaltation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
the
what
ceremony.
it was. So I was trying to figure out the name. Just came to me. Sorry.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, exaltation, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it, the exaltation. But this is why I'm telling you guys, like, before we ever picked this as a book and we would talk about Solo or whatever, I'm like, well, in Legends, Han Solo's girlfriend was in a cult. Like, what does that even mean? That this is what I meant.
I was trying to figure out like what you meant.
I mean, I'm glad we know, but at the same time, I'm like, I would have been okay just kind of guessing. But I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting for sure.
It's different. Like you don't see this a ton in Star Wars, so it's different. It's neat. But did you notice how like when he goes into the mud with the thing and they describe there being white worms in the mud? I was like,
yes,
white
it
worms.
picked me right away.
Did you get that?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I was like, oh, that's where they got it from.
I don't know if that's where
For sure they got it from this book.
Probably.
Who knows? Maybe.
But I
yeah,
just want to
trying
go
to
back
pay like a
out
little
at me.
respect
to
to the
one
book.
thing really quick. Like I
Mhm.
think, like I said, I'd be like Bria in the book. If I was in the book, I'd be
Mm,
like Bria. But if I was in the real world, I'd totally be like Han because my head's strong. It's about like,
skeptical.
remember they says it's about your, like the strength of like your, if you're weak minded. So
Mhm.
all the people who got suckered into this cult, like easily Jedi mind trick,
If
but
you
you
say
cannot mind trick
so.
someone with a strong head.
You're kind of a sucker though too.
Oh my gosh.
I won't get specific. Uh, you know who's gonna get you back.
Look at him, he looks so proud. He's like, yeah.
He's like, yeah, it's a matter of time. Don't do it, Ronald. Be strong.
Be strong, man. We were just talking about that today at work, that specific thing, and I'm just like, Ronald.
Yeah. Mhm.
Strong.
I know.
The
It's
force
tempting.
is on your side.
Just
They ain't
use the
strong in
Han
this one.
Solo, like hokey cult skeptical mindset.
Oh man.
Remember, you're in a cult, call your dad or call
Call
someone.
your dad.
Oh,
All right, what
man.
else you got?
So, at least for me, I know it's kind of hard to picture that Han is with someone that's not Leia, but I know that Megan really wanted to talk about this last week, so let's talk about Han and Bria.
It is, and I remember being so annoyed by it the first time I read these books, being like, "No, he's meant to be with Leia. Why is he in love with somebody else? I don't like it." Like, it just, yeah, I was just like, "No, it's wrong. Han and Leia are the OTP. Like, this can't be." But Bria comes into her own right. Like, she becomes a significant character apart from Han, and it's so interesting now going back because like I become much more fond of her later and what she becomes. So now rereading the beginning when she's just so pathetic, and it's like, I don't know, I like it. I feel like a lot of authors are afraid to write female characters like this now. Like they
Yeah.
always have to be really good at stuff and smarter than people and strong and clever and capable, and like their flaw is just that they're too trusting or too nice or too talented. Like it's stupid. Like this is a real character. You're just like, oh, her, why? Oh, she's like kind of homely and pathetic. Like he wants to break out and she starts shaking because she's never done anything bad before, and like she's addicted to this cult and she knows it, but she still won't give it up. She still goes to the exaltations and she's like, maybe I shouldn't leave because what if I still want it? Like, and you're just like, no, why are you so pathetic? And it's like, what does Han see in her? I don't get it. And like, but you'll see kind of how this forces her to go through a character arc and to grow and to make decisions for herself. And that is what I appreciate from a writing standpoint. Having a character be a completely different person by the end of the book than they were at the beginning, and seeing how the circumstances forces them to grow and become that person is so satisfying, and who she becomes is so incredible. And so I won't spoil anything, but yeah, Team Bria, happy.
Oh man, I'm gonna swing by around your answer,
Ooh.
with a few similarities, but I'm gonna go pound for pound with you on each one. So Leia's an Alderanian girl, so you know I don't think he like explored enough yet until this time, when he first goes to the planet. Figures out like, oh, what's this sculpture, and like, you know, seeing all the art there, and um, yeah. So I think like it wouldn't even have crossed his mind unless like it was probably girls in the little town that he had, that he went to went into the lower city or whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
the
but
university.
yeah, enough with that. Let's go. I'm gonna say it right here: Corellian girls. So I mean,
Oh,
that's what it is. It's like Kira. I was looking at it like, oh, like what similarities would she have with Kira? Nothing at this point that we know of yet. So you know me, I don't like to speculate, but you know, it crossed my mind. I was like, Corellian girls, that's where it's at. So I
Corellian girls,
gotta,
they're
yeah, man, that's
undeniable.
Corellian girl, Corellian boy. so so let me go back to specifically Bria then. Um, Han loves a rebel girl. She rebelled against her mother, and then I think something about like her father supporting her and something like that. I can't really remember, but she rebelled against her mother, and I think that Han Solo has like a knack for finding the rebellious side in girls,
Mm,
right? And probably
we're
that's what
bringing it
attracts him.
out.
I mean,
True.
remember when he went to the Alderanian college or whatever, the campus,
Yeah.
and like he was trying to hit on that one girl,
He
but
likes what he can't have. That's
yeah,
his type.
He
but
likes to
then
chase.
He likes a challenge,
Yeah.
you
that
know?
girl like had a boyfriend and like she rebelled and
Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
good.
I how like this is Corellian boys right here. I don't want to make it about Corellian boys, but
Mhm.
yeah, I think like uh, it's a fresh another character that I can put into because I'm like when you look at Kira, you're like, man, Kira's the only girl in Corellia. Like, no, now we have Bria, and it's like it's all about Corellian
Yeah,
girls,
there's
man.
two.
I want to see what they have out there.
Very similar.
But yeah, I enjoy this this pairing. Uh, there's a connection between them. It's just like uh, what's his name? It's blanking my mind. The other X-Wing series,
Oh, Corin
Corin.
and Merax?
Yeah, Corin and
Yeah,
Merrick's
it's
like I
it's a
mean,
Corellian thing. I think it's
it's a
like they see in each other
thank you,
when
thank
they're
you.
out and about a little piece of home that
Yeah.
they
Yes,
had left. And
yes,
that is like an immediate attraction. It's an immediate thing that they have in common and that they want to cling to. I think Corellians are very proud of their home world and they're
Mhm.
very they love things Corellian. So when they meet another one out in the wild, it's an instant connection.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's very much like being a Californian, you know.
It just might be. We're not industrial though, so it's oh no, actually we are in
Kinda.
some
We
part
got
of it.
ducks. What are you talking
In some
about?
part of it.
Yeah.
Anywho, Jasmine, what you're at? Where are you at?
So, I mean, like I said earlier when I was asking the question, it is kind of hard for me to picture him with someone that's not Leia, but at the same time, like I'm really liking Bria. And kind of like Megan said, like she starts out pretty realistic, different situation than Leia does. Different Han is in different situations when he
Yeah,
meets them
totally.
both, but then they're both like kind of stuck somewhere, and not necessarily that they need his help, but like it helps that he's there. And I like the way that they grow and they connect.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I read about them, the more I think about one of my best friends in college told me something that her grandma had taught her, and I had to write it down because I was like, I like this.
Wisdom.
So I'll try to make it quick, but it's that there's 3 people in your life. So one is your soulmate, but that doesn't always mean that the soulmate is someone romantic. It's just someone whose soul is connected with yours. It is
I
warm
like
like a
that.
flame, like the sun, and gives life to your soul as you give life to theirs. And that for me kind of felt like Han and Chewie, like they are attached to the hip. They give each other life and light. It's not romantic, but I still feel like their souls.
Yeah, their souls are connected. It's a
And then
life
there's
bond.
exactly. And then there's the one you're supposed to be with, that's full of warm love, connected mind and heart. Love was grown and tended to, and it's like a candle. And I feel like that's Han and Leia. And so for this, as much as like it hurts, but at the same time it makes sense. I feel like for Han and Bria, so she would be the imposter. It's the one who you think you love and they think they love you, but it's a flame that will burn out fast. And so I was like, oh, so it got me thinking about that. And like I said, I really do like this relationship. I can't wait to see what happens when we finish off the book. But but just reading it and then thinking about what happens to him later, I'm like, okay, this is a life lesson for him for later. And I like this. I love that we get to be a part of that journey with him.
Mm-hmm.
And
you can see that like part of her personality is that she finds higher purpose in things. She likes to dedicate herself to something bigger than herself, to a cause, to a religion, to the one, the all, this kind of thing. And that she will choose that over Han when it comes right down to it. He wore her down eventually, but at first she was like, no, like my mind is set, like I took my vows and this is how it's going to be. And so that stubbornness is actually part of her personality. And that's where it's going to be a problem is, you know, because Han's so spontaneous and fly by the seat of his pants. And you can tell that Bria likes structure and, you know, and organization and big callings and higher purposes. So they're not the perfect match, but they're exactly what each other needed at this time on this planet.
Yeah.
So yeah. Oh, let's see where this goes.
We still got another few chapters.
Indeed we do.
Yeah. And then there's 2 more books after this, so there's a lot more. There's a lot more.
So much more, because this is everything that they crammed into Solo is the trilogy of these Legends books. You know, you got to find out how he meets Chewie and how he meets Lando and all these things, and why he hates certain things, and yeah, so it all forms the Han Solo that we meet in the movies.
Yes.
But Solo tried to cram it all into one movie, and I was like, guys, no, there's a whole trilogy for this. But bless, you know,
They tried.
A for effort. Got any more questions?
Yes, I actually have 2 more. One of them is probably going to be a little short.
That's fine.
So the next one was, because this is such a Han Solo thing, but I still like hearing about your guys' reaction. So what are your thoughts on him blowing up the glitter stem factory?
Oh my gosh, Han. He had to think of a distraction.
Of all the things.
I guess. I mean, if you want to blow something up, like that absolutely will go up like a warehouse full of fireworks, I guess. But dang. No, it's clever because it's the most valuable thing on this planet, well, in this colony. So every bit of security and attention is going to go straight to it. Nobody's going to be concerned about the slaves or anything else. Like, this is the whole purpose behind this cult is this glitter stem refinery. So it's good. It's good. It's just, wow, that's a lot of money you just blew up. That was bold. Like, they will kill you, Han, if they catch you.
Yeah.
Like,
now what else is he gonna sell to college kids?
Exactly, man. Like, and party club girls. It's yeah, bold move. Let's see if it pays off.
Ooh, okay, for me, I have a few different things. When I first read it, I said distraction. What distraction? And then I was like, he didn't have a thermal with him, so I'm like, there's nothing that you could do out of a bang, right? But I think blowing up this glitter stem factory or operation, was he that smart to be like, I'm gonna take this whole thing down and you know, just right? Because it's like now they have nothing to go unless there's like a few more in Colony 2 or
well,
3.
there would be in Colony 2 and 3.
But if this is like your main one, like, you know, he kind of he messed things pretty bad. So I was like, is it smart or it's just Corellian luck? I don't know.
He's just crazy. But think about it. Like, what does this mean for the slaves that are, or the cult acolytes that are at this colony? If they don't have the thing to work at anymore, they all just going to get sold to Kessel and stuff. Like, he didn't think about that.
Oh man, I don't even want to think of that right now. Hopefully, let's see what happens when that comes to play. But I was trying to remember, like, what did this distraction have to do, if it related anything to movies. I could not think of anything, but
like the droid revolt in the mines. kind of like the droid revolt in the mines, I guess, is the distraction while he goes and
Right. And then I think like more of as you asked the question, I think was more thinking of the bunker scene and blowing up the the shield
Oh,
generator bunker.
true. Yes.
But yeah, like a Big Bang kind of thing. So I don't know if that's related to the movie, and then if did Solo relate that droid part to any of this if they read any of this part.
This is where he learns that explosions make good distractions.
Yeah, man, glitter
I
stick.
feel like it goes up like a rocket.
Yeah,
My glitter stick. I think there was a couple writing errors though in this bit. First of
I
all,
did.
like, do blasters have an overload setting? What would even the point of that be?
Oh, overheat. It's well, yeah, overload, but overheat setting. That's what you get in the the video game. Your blaster could overheat.
But
Which
he
makes
set them
sense.
to overheat, like as if it was a setting. Like I get that there
Oh,
would be an
right.
overheat warning
Right.
if you
But-
were using it too much, but it said he set them to overheat, like
To
they're
overheat,
stun,
yes.
kill,
Yes.
and overload. I was like,
I
why
remember,
would that
yeah.
be an option? When are you ever going to need that? That was weird.
Well, it's
and
just
Because you
then
need a
remember-
distraction.
Right.
you want to just blow your gun up, sure. And then they had made such a point of there being the skin changer guards in the dark that I thought that was gonna like come into play, like that he would be down there by himself after hours. Shouldn't be. He stuns like one guard at the beginning at the front,
Yeah.
and then goes in, and I'm like, oh, those stinking like skin changer camouflage guys are gonna get him, and like they don't. I was like, why did you even bring those guys up a couple times if they aren't gonna come into play at this point? Maybe they come later, I don't know. But yeah, I was like, come on, that was too easy. Too easy.
I was like, okay, that's definitely a Han Solo thing to do. Maybe a little dramatic, but that is pretty much Han Solo.
Yeah.
If it's not big and dramatic, it ain't worth it. It ain't it.
Oh yeah. Can't have a little distraction. No.
Yeah, exactly. But I actually didn't think about like what's gonna happen to the other pilgrims until you mentioned it, and I was like, oh crap, what's gonna happen to them? So my hope is that maybe they'll like release them to other planets or something. They'll like be free little slaves. I don't know.
He
could
got
hope.
the one he cared about, and like he's like, peace. Like,
Well, hopefully
what about these people?
hopefully those people will be like, I don't know, set free. Something. They'll be like, the cult leaders will be like, we have no use for you. We're gonna take you to another planet, and then maybe from there they'll regain their livelihoods.
That would be nice.
Be free little slaves. I don't know. That's
we'll see.
that's just a hope.
Also, how on earth does Bria, the curator of this collection, not know that one of these things is connected to a bunch of wires? Didn't she just rearrange the place? Like, how did you not know that like that statue was triggered?
So she
to
not
set
that
off an
tech savvy
alarm?
then?
But she would know, yeah, this one's weird. It's connected to some stuff. Like I was trying to remodel the place in dust, and I lifted it up and it set off an alarm. Like, how do you not know that as the curator of this place? You didn't be like, touch everything but that one. Like, don't touch this one. Sets off an alarm. If anybody knew that, she should. So that was, I felt like a little plot hole.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, guys. Any predictions before we finish off the book?
I predict a happy ending for Merg and Merv. Merv?
We can hope.
I can't pronounce it either.
Yeah,
I
the
have hope.
I just go
Togorians.
meow.
I'm just like, she seems like a tough cookie. The fact that when he was observing and she seemed kind of like with it. So like she broke the conditioning, I'm thinking, and that she's going to be like a big help to them getting out. Like they got to get off the planet. They got to get off the planet. We know they will.
Mhm.
It's not going to be easy now. There's going to be complications because we're getting into Act 3. So this is like freaking like low point time, and now we got to like overcome and be triumphant. But I'm really hoping like that the Togorians find each other, have a happy ending. Please don't let one of them die. That would be awful. And that they get to be together because I like Berg. He's a cool guy. I want him to have a happy ending.
Is it my turn?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Whenever there's
Uh,
awkward silence, it's someone
So
else's turn.
yeah, I
Means I'm
wanted
done.
it to. I wanted it to be because you guys usually call that out, but no. So yes, the Tagorians. I do definitely. I will be heartbroken if for the first time. I don't really get too emotional, but if they do something to Mrav, man, it's gonna be so messed up because how I don't know how long Mur has been here. Like he wants it so bad, and like I don't know anything about this author, how dark this author will go, to do something like that. So uh I just, I'm hopeful that everybody gets saved from this, this great escape. um what's it called? I'm also thinking what the Jabbas, the Huts,
Oh,
like
Jilliak.
how are they gonna
Mm.
step up and intervene all this, right? And then like, does Captain Shrike still have anything
Oh,
to play with this, right? Like, are we gonna have a
Oh,
Probably
blockade
still
yeah.
that,
pissed. I forgot about
yeah,
him.
does he
Yeah.
have a blockade? Is he still looking for Han? And then probably my last one would be for Bria. Like, if she goes back to Corellia, will homeboy who's supposed to, that arranged marriage,
Oh, her ex-fiance.
would he still be around? And what would Han think, right? So again, like, we see time and time again, like, well, it says Han's a little bit, you know a player, but hate the player, don't hate the player, hate the game. um so loving this dude, but what's he gonna think if, like,
Yeah.
she goes back and that guy is like still waiting there with a ring, like ready to get married? Like, dude,
Or he's gonna
I don't
go
think
back
Corellians are
and
fighters like that. They're just lovers,
if
but they're
she's
not
upper
fighters.
class, like all the people he hated when he was growing up there, like
Oh,
that's
yeah.
gonna change his perception of her, you know?
yeah.
That's
I don't
true.
know. Just saying.
So that's, I mean, yeah, that's interesting. We'll see.
But you brought up the Huts. I'm glad, and I'm repping the Huts today because I loved that scene. That was good fun. But I like that that's how and why Han learned Huttese. That's why he can speak. I'm just like, oh, thank you for
I
like
know.
having a good explanation for
They even had the
Yeah.
laugh.
these
They had the
skills.
laugh in this book.
Yeah, he did the
I was
laugh.
dying. I had to do the laugh as I read it. I was like, you cannot do the not like a hot laugh.
Oh, oh, oh.
As it out there.
And I love that the
So
gift
good.
is like a combination hookah and snack aquarium. I was like, oh my
Yes.
gosh, so hot.
I mean, if you want realism, there it is.
Love it. Anyway,
Oh, man.
Jazz, what are your predictions?
I don't know if these are predictions for more hopes. So yeah, I need Merg and his partner to have a happy ending, or I'm gonna freaking riot. AC Crispin, I will find you. I will hunt you
Yeah.
down. I will cry and I will throw
Give the
this book at
kitties
you.
a happy ending.
Like, let them go back to their planet, please.
Yeah.
I know this book came out a bunch of years ago, but AC Crispin,
Doesn't mean
I
you're safe.
will throw this book at you if they are not happy. I am warning you.
Ooh. Well, we better hope for that then.
For
And
real.
then another hope I have is that, all right, so none of us have been in a cult, but based on like research and like interviews and stuff,
We all watch true crime shows though.
like it's a pretty freaking traumatic thing, especially
Mhm.
like when you have to like realize it like super quick, like, oh crap, I'm in a cult. I need to call my dad and leave. And so that's why I'm hoping that, Bria and Han have some kind of conversation about her, like how is she doing now? How is she coping? Like, I mean, this book has so much realism anyway. I want them to have that difficult conversation because we've already seen in this book, Han can be sensitive. He cares. And when he cares a lot, it is fierce.
Yeah.
And I really hope that they can have that difficult conversation. Even if it doesn't go that well, I just want that sense of realism that like, hey, it's okay to talk about this. It's okay to talk about our feelings and what happened, So I really hope that something like that happens, It doesn't have to
Yeah.
be a long conversation, but like, I just wanted to at least mention that it was addressed.
Not even I'm telling you now because you're gonna love it. Freaking,
Okay.
It is addressed. Like they deal with it. Like Bria is a flawed, broken character. She
Mhm.
spends a long time after this as just basically a junkie going through withdrawals.
Oh
And it's
my word.
it's so real. It's
That's
like,
good.
oof.
But I
Like
like that.
yeah, it's so
Yeah.
different. Like usually people that go through this crazy thing and then they're off to the next scene and they're just themselves and their regular characters. Like this is so real. It like really deals with these issues. Like we saw in this last section, Han's still thinking of Dulana. And
Yeah.
it's like I love that the traumatic events that shape these people aren't just one and done and then they are who they are. Like they actually continue to dwell on it and have to work through it.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate as uncomfortably real as that is, it's I don't know, it's also refreshingly real.
Yeah, because like trauma really does shape a person. And trauma, it's, like you said, it's not one and done. It lives with you for years and years and
Mhm.
years, if not forever. And so I like that even though it's sad to read about it, I like that when it's still addressed later on, that it's not a one and done, that they're like, hey, this person still thinks about this person still has these feelings or whatever from that event. And I really appreciate that because I feel like it's a nice way for people who have gone through traumatic events to see like, hey, it's not just us. These people that like I grew up with that I love also have gone through it. They're not okay the next day. I don't need to be okay the next day. So I really do appreciate that part.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a little more believable that way. And I feel
Yeah.
like in Star Wars, that's always what frustrated me. And that's why maybe you and I, Jasmine, gravitate towards the angsty fix because it's
Mhm.
like these characters go through some really traumatic, crazy, life-changing stuff. And then they're like quirky and quippy and sarcastic this next scene. And I'm like, you were just tortured. Like you can't
Yeah.
just bounce back. Like, please deal with this. And then they just don't. They're just like freaking normal immediately afterwards. And I'm like, I really wish we had gotten a little bit of time with them dealing with this trauma. And I think that's something that
Exactly.
Marvel does, oddly
Mhm.
enough, well, sometimes, and then sometimes not so much.
Mhm.
But yeah, that is a thing I would like to see more in Star Wars. And
Mhm.
you get heaps of it in this book for at least in this book, but in the movies not so much. Yeah.
Mhm.
But at least we got our angsty stories to work it out.
Yeah.
So we are finishing the book
Mhm.
in this next section. So we're just straight from chapter 11 to the end. I think there's a little epilogue even. So let's close it out, see what happens, see if they get off this planet, and if our little kitties get a happy ending, which we all hope for.
Mhm.
So for next week, let's finish this book. And in the meantime, let's enjoy Star Wars and all its other facets and
Yes.
cracky online ways of enjoying it. But for now, for book club, Sexy Wookiees need to sign out. So let's go. Sexy
Sexy
Wookiee.
Wookiee.